This episode of the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report is brought to you by Draeger Rental and Safety Services, your trusted source for industrial safety services and technology. We'll share more about Draeger later in the episode. Welcome to the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report, your go-to source for the latest updates in the energy sector. I'm Samantha, your AI podcast host, and today is December 20th, 2024. In today's episode, INEOS acquires oil and gas assets in the Gulf of Mexico. Venture Global's Plaquemines LNG achieves first LNG production, and other top news from the energy sector this week. But before we get started, we ask that if you enjoy our podcast, please like, comment, and share it with your colleagues. Your support helps us grow and allows us to bring you even more exciting updates from the energy sector in the future. With that being said, let's jump into the first story. We'll kick things off with a strategic acquisition as INEOS Energy has acquired CNOOC Energy Holdings USA Inc.'s Gulf of Mexico business, boosting its global production to over 90,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day. The deal includes two deepwater assets, Appomattox and Stampede, along with several mature assets. This marks INEOS's third major U.S. investment in 3 years, following deals with Sempra and Chesapeake Energy. With total capital spending exceeding $3 billion in the U.S., INEOS is positioning itself for continued growth. The company is also focused on the energy transition, advancing carbon storage projects and investing in carbon capture and storage technologies. Next up, Venture Global has achieved first LNG production at its Plaquemines LNG facility in Port Sulphur, Louisiana. This milestone comes just 30 months after the project's final investment decision, making it one of the fastest greenfield LNG projects to reach production, alongside the company's Calcasieu Pass facility. Once fully operational, Plaquemines LNG will be among the largest in the world. Venture Global's commitment to providing reliable, low-cost LNG will strengthen global energy security, supporting U.S. exports and local economies. The company plans to invest $50 billion in U.S.-based energy projects, creating jobs and bolstering the nation's LNG supply. Moving on now to the latest on the Detroit Marathon strike that grabbed headlines this week. After 101 days on strike, members of Teamsters Local 283 at Marathon Petroleum's Detroit refinery have ratified a new contract. The new agreement includes a 24.5% wage increase, employer-paid health care, union security, and access to the Teamsters Central States Pension Fund. Local 283 President Steve Hicks emphasized that the strike demonstrated the workers' contributions to the refinery's success. The union's unity and determination were praised by members, including Jeff Trikoff, a relief operator and shop steward, who said, "We walked out as groups, and now we walk back in as one." Before we move on to our next story, a quick word from our sponsor. This episode of the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report is brought to you by Draeger Rental and Safety Services. From daily operations to large turnaround and shutdown projects, partner with Draeger for smart technical solutions that protects, supports, and saves lives. To learn more, visit www.draeger.com. For our next story, Commonwealth Fusion Systems, the largest private fusion company, has announced plans to build the world's first grid-scale commercial fusion power plant in Chesterfield County, Virginia, at the James River Industrial Park. The plant, known as ARC, will be independently financed, built, owned, and operated by CFS, with technical collaboration from Dominion Energy Virginia, which owns the proposed site. Set to be operational in the early 2030s, ARC will generate 400 megawatts of electricity, enough to power 150,000 homes, and support Virginia's clean energy goals. The project is expected to drive significant economic development in the region, creating hundreds of jobs and billions in economic value. CFS's current focus is on developing its fusion demonstration machine, SPARC, which is set to produce its first plasma in 2026, paving the way for ARC. Finally, we'll close today's show out with some major legislative news. The Environmental Protection Agency has approved California's divisive plan to phase out the sale of gasoline-only vehicles by 2035. This waiver under the Clean Air Act allows California to require at least 80% of new car sales to be electric and up to 20% plug-in hybrids by that deadline, a move already adopted by 11 other states. California's rule also requires 35% of vehicles sold in 2026 to be zero emission, increasing to 68% by 2030. The state asserts these measures are crucial for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and air pollution. However, the legal battle is far from over, with the Supreme Court agreeing to hear a challenge from fuel producers against California's authority to set such regulations. And with that, we come to a close on this week's episode of the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report. You can head over to bicmagazine.com to read the full stories discussed today, and make sure to follow us on all of our social media channels so that you never miss out on the latest developments, updates, and announcements from the energy sector. Have a great day, and remember, it's what we do together that counts. Thank you again to Draeger Rental and Safety Services for sponsoring today's episode. Make sure to visit www.draeger.com to learn more about Draeger's smart safety solutions for your facility. When safety matters, rely on Draeger, technology for life.